Afterword. While the story of Jack Gruner is true and remarkable, this book is a work of fiction. As an author, I've taken some liberties with time and events to paint a fuller and more representative picture of the Holocaust as a whole. All this was done with Jack's blessing so that the horrors and realities of the Holocaust, beyond those that he personally experienced, would not be forgotten. Jack did, in fact, survive the harsh conditions of the Krakow ghetto by living in a pigeon coop with his parents. He baked bread under cover of night with his aunt and uncle, had his bar mitzvah in a basement, and watched his parents deported by the Nazis, never to see them alive again. At Plossov, Jack hid under the floorboards for Mom and Gove and was inexplicably, which means unexplainably, spared by the madman when he emerged. Even more incredibly, while Jack was at Plossov, he worked for a time at the very same enamelware factory where German businessman Oskar Schindler later saved hundreds of Jews from extermination. Schindler was able to protect the Jews who worked there because Gove made enough money off the factory to look the other way. But Jack was transferred away from Plossau a mere 3 months before Schindler began protecting his workers from the Nazis. Jack only learned how close he was to salvation years later, when the true story of Schindler's List was told. Jack then went on to survive 9 more concentration camps. At Waleska, he toiled beside the famous salt statues that became a tourist attraction after the war. At Birkenau, he waited under the gas heads for death, only to be showered with cold water instead. At Auschwitz, Jack came face to face with the infamous Nazi monster Josef Mengele and lived. Jack endured slavery and starvation, death marches and cattle cars, Allied bombings and Nazi beatings. Of the more than 1.5 million Jewish children living in Europe before the war, Jack was one of only 500,000 to survive. Do that math. After the war, Jack immigrated to America and became an American citizen. Less than a year after he became a citizen, he was drafted into the U.S. Army and sent to Korea to fight in the Korean War. There he survived again, this time with a gun in his hands and a backpack on his back, all the while keeping up his promised correspondence with the Gamser family, who had at last immigrated to America. When Jack's 2 years in the Army were up, he came to visit the Gamsers in New York City. He discovered that little Lucia, the girl he had met in Munich, who always sat in the corner reading a book, had grown up into a beautiful young woman. Jack fell in love with Lucia, who had since changed her name to Ruth, and in a few months, they were married. Jack and Ruth lived in Brooklyn, New York, and traveled the country to speak about their experiences in the Holocaust. I had the pleasure of meeting Jack and Ruth while working on this book, and it's my honor to write about Jack's life, so generations that follow will never forget. Jack passed away in 2017. He is survived by Ruth and their 2 grown sons and 4 grandchildren. Until the day he died, Jack bore the tattoo with the numbers the Nazis gave him, B-3087. But it is his name, Jack Gruner, that lives on. And here, guys, I'm going to show you. We saw some of this. Here's a picture of him when he was young, Yannick or Jack Gruner. And then here's Jack and Ruth. This is a picture from the video, one of the few that you can find. And that's it. Great book.